I think the two absolutely key considerations for the future are quality of content and indeed the ability to use that content across different platforms. And I think secondly is to offer a multi-platform offering to their particular consumers, and that's on an individual brand basis. However, having said that, I think on an overall basis, I think digital will have an impact across all media. I think the media landscape in 5 years' time will be, it will look very much the same and completely different. And if you understand that, then good luck to you.
Yeah, what I think you're getting is lots of brands moving onto the internet, because that seems to be, to me, like the buzz place to be. But I do think longer term, I'm not entirely sure whether the internet is going to do for brands what traditional media currently does. I'm not saying that it definitely can't, but I think the internet does certain things very well and traditional media does other things very well, and I think really we should be looking at ways to kind of make the two work that much better together. And I think media owners are developing on that side as well, and they're putting together great teams of people that can help implement that at their end, and equally the agencies are working on that as well.
At the moment it's difficult to see exactly where digital technology is going to take radio as a medium. However, one thing is perfectly clear: there's going to be a very significant blurring of consumer understanding of what's radio versus TV or an internet experience, and how things have progressed just in the last few years. The pace of change is going to be absolutely exponential. Mediums, channels, platforms are going to come and go. The only ones that are going to be retained are the ones that matter to consumers. Consumers are going to have far more control over the shape of the media landscape than has ever been out of the hands of a media company on easy way. Being a multi-channel advertiser, the way the market's set to change now, is a massive competitive advantage because we're looking at a multi-channel environment. It's also a very large challenge as well to ensure that you provide a very fluid and high quality service platform to platform.
Content will be really important, and people won't really care how they access that content in terms of distribution platform. I would probably do two things, and the first thing would be to simplify traditional methods of operation, and in that I mean make it easier for us to plan and buy traditional space. And secondly, I would spend my time and energy focusing on ideas and working out how to connect with people and knowing that content is key.
I see the consumer actually taking the media with them within the landscape and starting to generate media themselves. So whereas before you used to have people pushing out media, consumers are going to carry it with them and actually own and create that. User-generated content is only one very small example of where we're going. I think the essence of what either an agency or a media owner needs to do is draw a roadmap for their businesses or the services that they offer from traditional to a digital world.
Digital media and the impact upon press specifically, I think it's quite interesting is that there's a lot of content now, and a lot of it's being consumer generated, being generated by brands, being generated by different media owners, and I think it's almost like the role for kind of like press brands is moving forward is that they're still going to hold a strong position because people are going to look to trusted brands for editorial guidance basically, and ultimately there's going to be so much kind of like content out there that people can access. How are you going to know what is right and what is wrong? It's about having a mindset shift, I think. Brands are becoming curators of content, so I think increasingly, brands are almost becoming media owners in their own right, as channels become more about connection rather than pure contact.
Media owner.
Okay, a multi-channel media owner in the future, ultimately they've got to make things happen, and there's two key ways they can go about doing this. They've got to integrate their offering, they've got to create bespoke, creative options for a client or an agency to buy. However, and this is the key point, is that in the future they're not selling anymore, it's about collaboration. The new world is about making new experiences possible. It's a very optimistic world, and these solutions are difficult to deliver, and it helps if you're part of a team.